What is going on, everybody? And in this video I'll be talking about the Demolition Derby class. As you guys know, I have been covering the best vehicle in each class, so let's get right into this right now. So I am hovering over the Fender obviously here, but before we get into that, let's take a look at the other Demolition Derby vehicles and why I may not choose them. Not necessarily saying they're bad, but the reason why I use this car. So obviously moving on to the Vero here. The only reason why I would use this car is if I absolutely have to. It's actually a good vehicle to use. It's quick, but I just prefer the handling of the Fender here. I think it's just better in my opinion. It's still a great car, honestly, though. I just wouldn't use it for stuff unless I absolutely have to, like if you require to use it in a summit. Pretty much goes for the Fender bulk here as well. I never really use this truck either unless I have to. Personally, I don't think this thing's that great. I think it's kind of lacking a little bit in some areas. That's where I think the Fender beats it there. The Dodge Charger RT Hemi is actually fairly new in this class, and this car is actually pretty dang good, honestly. It's pretty quick, it handles pretty good, and I actually use this in one of the actual Demolition Derby events. It actually did pretty well, so this car is not bad. It's just I prefer to use the Fender over it. And then after that, the Fender Frenzy is said to be one of the fastest cars in this class, mainly because it's like the most expensive one, I guess, or whatever. But that's not necessarily true, because sometimes if the car is cheaper, it might actually be better, which goes for the Jet Sprint class there as well, which is kind of funny. We'll be getting into that video after the Demolition Derby. But I also do not use this car unless absolutely needed, and the same goes for the Rattlesnake there. I feel like most of these cars, guys, are only really used if you absolutely have to in the Summit. Anyway, getting right into why I like this car, so let's talk about the performance. So I am running the Chemist set here with Bulldozer and Pure. This was a set that was actually active a very long time ago. If you guys are wondering, is the Nitro Chemist set good on this class? The funny thing about that is, this class I noticed is Nitro Chemist goes down very quickly, but also replenishes very fast as well. So if you do not have it, it is kind of slow, and I notice it does make a bit of a difference there. Bulldozer obviously would help if you guys are doing the actual events there for running into other enemies there and stuff like that. That might help, but if you're just doing a race, you really just want the Pure there. I keep the Bulldozer on there anyway just in case, because it does actually help. You move the cars out of the way a little easier, and this will get you a higher score and more parts broken off and stuff like that in the Demolition Derbies. I'll also show my settings on this at the end of the video, so let's jump into an actual race. I'm going to choose not to do a Demolition Derby event with this, because I feel like most people are well aware of those, and I think any car can really do those, but I feel like the races are where these really shine, so let's jump right into that. So guys, I figured I would jump right into one of the more annoying races, which was actually in the Summit this last week. I feel like this race was very frustrating to people. Mainly because how you had to go up the ramp and down it perfectly, and I actually tested multiple different Demolition Derby cars on this, and honestly the Frontiera just kind of destroys them. It's kind of crazy actually, for that matter, on how good this car actually is. I highly recommend you guys to try it out. The only issue is with any car you use on this, when you go up the ramp you're going to lose a little health, so aiming for those little mechanic pick-me-up things might not be a bad idea to help you guys out on this. Regardless though, guys, what makes me like the Frontiera more than the other cars? Well, honestly guys, starting right off, the handling for one on this car is actually insanely good. I notice on these races it just dominates. I dominate like every race with it compared to the other Demolition Derby cars. I've tested multiples out, and they're just not as good. The Charger was one of the newer ones that were added, and I didn't really like how that car drives. When it comes to the actual Demolition Derbies, I know people are going to be wondering why I didn't do one of those instead, and the reason for that is I feel like a lot of the cars can do those without any issues. A lot of the regular Demolition Derbies I feel like are based on some RNG there on how the matches go, because sometimes all the racers could be like one hit, and you can hit like 4 or 5 of them and get like 80,000 points, so I guess it really depends on what happens there. When it comes to the races though, I feel like these are very competitive and most people are going for time, so you're going to have the best handling vehicle you guys can have and all that, and I do feel like this car is on top when it comes to that. One of your biggest enemies in these races, though, without a doubt in my mind, are the NPC drivers here, because my goodness, they're awful. They always get in the way, and they're really slow normally. I think I believe all the races on the summits are all regular leveled, probably for good reason. You don't want to have them on ace, that really wouldn't make any sense. But when it comes to this, guys, I highly recommend to, like I said, pick your best vehicle. That's why I highly recommend to pick the Frontiera here, because I just feel like this car is amazing. Posting this video today, you guys will have obviously one more day to do the summit, so if you want to jump into the Frontiera and try this race out here, I highly recommend it. Just on this run right here alone, I got around 2 minutes and 1 second, which is still pretty good. I didn't beat my previous score of 1:58, but it's still pretty amazing. Anyway, guys, highly recommend checking this car out. Like I said, the best vehicle in every class. Very, very important thing to have, guys, because it will help you so much in getting in the top score in every summit and event. Thank you guys so much, and here are my settings. And here are the settings I'm running on my Fender Frontiera.